Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to Man Talk with Dougie. It's another Thursday. We are happy to have you at CAC TV in part 2 of the conversation, Marriage in the Next Decade. Last week we had a couple of questions that were asked. We engaged a lot. We don't know if you got the right answers or not. We continue with it because of your request. But again, the same panel we have today, and today we start with you. To just introduce yourself again.
My name is Richard Kimani, and I'm a pastor with the River Church, Gong Road, Karen, and I'm married, and I'm a grandfather of 5, married to 1 wife, and with 3 children, and those 3 children are brought to us 5 grandchildren.
Wow.
And waiting for more.
Waiting for more.
Yeah.
Karibu sana.
Thank you, Dougie, again, and Mantok for hosting us this evening. John Njoroge is my name. I'm born again. I'm a father of 3, married to Lillian. I serve as an elder in the PCA Church, and I work as a trainer at St. Paul's University as I run my business in the world as I serve God every day.
Amen. 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 So let us catch up from where we were. Last time from my notes, we were short of time because we were discussing, we actually have gotten into the LGBT and said that there are guys who are wearing clothes and are able to walk in the streets and it's becoming trendy. And we're just asking ourselves, what does the Bible say? Where are we? And so incidentally, there are some rulings and some conversations that are running on the same subject. What do you guys feel? What's your take on that conversation? I think we kind of picked it here and it went on air and went even to the Supreme Court. What's your take?
Oh, thanks, Dougie. It's a very unfortunate conversation to be having as a people. I mean, to have the one of the top organs in the country, sort of engaging in a conversation that is going to mislead, our people, our cultures. I mean, it's not our culture, at all. I mean, the president came out earlier today and he said that's not in our culture at all. It's not even in a national value ecosystem. So, I mean, I can only hope that the conversations that our leaders are having now are genuine enough to sort of skew the conversation in the right direction and to really address these issues, particularly from a way where we are nurturing our young people to avoid such vices and challenges in life.
Reverend, what do you think?
This is an abomination. What is the word? Abomination.
Yeah.
And it should be called so. It's against our culture. It's against our norms. We don't even need to have gone to school or to church to know that this is not the right thing to do. The animals themselves, they know. You will not find a bull with another bull. It will always look for a female. So when someone somewhere tries to tell us to do things that are outside the norm, let's not even talk about the Bible, because the Bible is very clear about it. And if you allow me, I'm going to read a few sections of that.
Please do.
But even before we do that, this is something that should be condemned. And I thank the churches because they have spoken against it. The Supreme Court have done what they have done. In their, I don't know whether to call it in their wisdom or lack of it. They know better why they did what they did. But I would like to say what they did is wrong. We will not accept it. We will fight it from the pulpit. We will tell our children it is wrong. And we pray that the same court will be able to reverse their decision. But having said that, just listen this, Dougie, what the Bible says about this whole thing. In Leviticus chapter 20, from verse 12, it says, if a man has intercourse with his daughter-in-law, they shall both be put to death.
Yes.
They have committed incense and responsible for their own death. Now, that verse 13 says, if a man has sexual relations with another man, they have done a disgusting thing, and both shall be put to death. They are responsible for their own death.
The word of God itself speaks straight about it.
Straight about it. And let me say, we are lucky. We are living in the period of grace.
Yes.
If it was the old days of the old covenant, such people by now, whoever, even the judges who made that ruling, they should have stoned them.
They should have been.
They should have been, yes, because what they have done is disgusting, and they should be told exactly that.
So let me then ask. So, not necessarily day 1, day 2, day 3, but in very short spans of time. The wife to the US president comes in. Immediately after, the Supreme Court passes LGBTQ. Immediately after, she leaves. Immediately after, we get 16 billion. Isn't it? So immediately after the 16 billion, there's conversation in parliament. And then immediately after the conversation, the president gets to speak against LGBTQ in Kiswahili. Is this story coincidental or are we being managed? Is there, kuna mpango ilikuwa inatengenezwa hapo? Ndio pesa iingie, ndio tuharibu. When the president spoke in Swahili, is it managing us, or is it Swahili so those guys may not understand? Or is it a... Do you see...
Yeah.
What do we make of it, guys?
Very interesting, developments in quick succession, really. Yes. Well, first of all, what comes to mind really is that this is a fallen world, and it is naive for me, from where I sit, to really even trust politicians. Doesn't matter where they come from, whether they're American politicians or local, so that it's an affront, to us as a people. Rev is talking about even before we go to the Bible, So to have these conversations coming from our leaders, to hear about monies that have come in, to see the visit, there are questions we are asking, but we want to remain genuine as a people. We want to remain honest. We want to remain focused on what is important. We must speak to these issues. There's a person who is always reminding us to speak truth to power. Who is going to speak truth to power, to those in power, in government, other than, say, in this case, the church, or such a forum as this? So I think I don't want to give so much attention to what the leaders are saying. I would rather focus with what we can do to really get ourselves on the right track as far as this conversation is concerned.
Same sentiments?
Yes, Dougie, but let me also say this. This whole thing, when you look at it, it is not just in Kenya. It is in the whole world. But it is being pushed in one particular continent, and that is the continent of Africa.
It's called the dark continent.
Yes, that's what they will call us, but we are not the dark continent. No, by the way, let's speak and tell them we are actually the light continent. What history has not told us is that we were the first civilization was actually in Africa. Europe was barbaric. We are the first people who received Christianity. We are the one who took it to Europe. It is there in history, and this is known. So we are not dark, and sorry to just go back to that. They keep calling us the dark because they want us to believe that we are dark and we are the least and we are at their masses. The truth is we are not. We are equal as human beings. Yes. If anything, we could be superior, we could be more intelligent than them, and this has been proved. I'm not going to go to that. To that. They know it. Now, why are they pushing this agenda to us? We need to ask ourselves, what are they up to? Because why would they give so much money to advance something that doesn't make sense to us? But to them it makes sense because they are after us. Why? If a man marries another man, are they going to produce a child?
They cannot.
Yeah? If a woman marries another woman, are they going to have a child? Africans, these guys have conspired to destroy us because we have the resources and we have woken up and we are not ready to allow them to exploit us anymore. So the only way they can be able to deal with us, it is either to kill us through corona or through AIDS or through Ebola or through whatever, or now because we are resilient to these viruses.
Yes.
The only thing that now they think they can do is to stop us from producing. And that is what I believe this LGBT thing is about. It's about depopulating the continent of Africa so that they can continue to exploit our resources,
Subduing us.
We need to be wise.
And it's interesting because you brought in part of the things that we are looking at in terms of a marriage in the next decade and where we are headed was about the Western influence. If at all the Western world has influenced our cultures, has influenced our marriages as Africans, and you've just answered that one totally. I want to go and ask about our in-laws. And John, when we answer this, it's not to your in-laws, it's generally. But can in-laws make a marriage work or break it? Their children's marriages? And in what way, possibly?
Oh, interesting question. I mean, in-laws in the first place are family, by and large, isn't it? They are parents. For example, my in-laws are my parents as much as my parents are my parents in the context of of our marriage.
Yes.
And so, like you're saying, either way, we could have a positive giving contribution from them or a negative one. And you talk about Western culture, and I think even in the context of our socialization, some of the things we picked from our culture in terms of how our in-laws connect with us and everything, we find situations whereby in-laws perhaps are always, for example, checking out on the girl, for example. Most of the in-laws I've heard about myself are actually the man's parents.
Most of the in-laws you have had yourself?
Yes, in terms of
you have had yourself?
No, not myself. In terms of the conversations out here. In my case, I have had very fantastic relationships, friendships. We relate well, but really we have challenges in our society still today, where we have in-laws probing, is it poking or probing, always probing. I'll give an example of where there's been child in marriage, and you find in-laws always really coming in every other day to check why you're not getting children, and always putting a lot of pressure. And some cases marriages have been set apart because of that particular one question. So in-laws could add value in another way. They could also
and many times the mother-in-law is the one who's always the problem, not the father-in-law.
Interesting.
The father-in-laws, the dads are always really good guys. It's the mother-in-law that's always trouble.
Sometimes I wonder whether they're speaking the mind of the fathers.
But you've got a couple of in-laws.
Yes, well, I've got a couple of in-laws. I do not have a problem with any one of them. My father and my mother-in-law are late, but they were very good people. It's very supportive. We didn't experience any problem. But let me say, Dougie, I am aware, because I'm a pastor and I counsel with people who come to me and they tell me things that have been done by their mother-in-law, particularly the mother to the girl. And I'm not saying that the mother to the boy does not also have the equal share, but some of the cases that I have had is where the mother to the girl start influencing the girl against the husband. And I keep wondering, why would you want your daughter not to enjoy a marriage? And there are marriages that have been broken by mothers and mothers-in-law. Equally, even sons, their mothers have messed up because they want to continue owning and possessing this child that they believe is theirs. We need to tell everyone to understand, when God created marriage or as an institution, it is very clear that man leaves his parents, to go to his wife, and they make a home and a family. Another family starts there. There cannot be a family with interferences. If we interfere, let's interfere positively to add value to them, but not to try to separate them or to want to gain from them. So
this couple that is courting,
yeah,
that they're dating, and I would like you to meet my parents, I would like you to meet my relatives, because we are now serious.
Yeah.
Is there any way that young man can influence his girl to just get to bring out, let our parents never interfere with us? Can we be independent, we shall respect them, but he maneno, how can a young man get to give direction, to give leadership from the moment they are dating?
I think the first thing that they need to understand, and when we are doing counseling, we try to emphasize and to help them to understand that the day you decide you want to get this girl to come into your life or this man to come into your life, you are separating yourself from your other families, because you cannot be able to fully start a family when you are still hooked to these other families. So you need to be independent, and your families need to understand. That's why they give you out. Yeah, and we come and we all celebrate and we witness these two coming together. Our assignment is to help them. Now the boy or the girl, they need to talk and agree and say, look, this is us, and we need to come together so that we can form what is going to be ours and a successful relationship. Now, does that mean that we do not relate with our parents? No. We are supposed to relate with them. We are supposed to know how they are doing. We are supposed to assist them where we can. They are also supposed to come to us and find out, are you okay? Yes, we are okay. If they were not okay, should we be having a problem? They are even at a better place to advise us because they've been there. But they should not be biased, or the parents of the boy should not think that the girl is the one who has a problem, or the parents of the girl should not think the boy is the one who has a problem. The two parties should come together, all of them, to help this.
But
yes.
Yeah, I mean, Doug, mother-in-law over time now has been called mother-in-love, and I think that is very important for mother-in-laws to know that they are a package of love as well, so that as long as they are not sort of delivering love in the interactions with this new couple, really they should slow down and let that love first go bad. I mean, the Bible says that the husband is the head of the wife, not even the family, the wife, so that, like Rev is saying, the two come together and they're able to discuss and agree, this is how we will move together. This is, the young man is able to engage this lady and talk to her and inspire her in the direction the Lord is leading them, and what they will build together. And as long as they agree on that, then they begin to go out and connect, even with his own parents in a certain way. Otherwise, parents really ought to understand that the Bible is very clear. The man lives to cleave to his wife, and together they become one.
Is there any reason where the mother-in-law comes in and starts controlling or starts getting involved in that new family? Is there any reason because the man is not his own man? He's a weakling. He is a wimp. He cannot make decisions. And the woman sees this guy is not in control, so I must come and support my daughter.
Absolutely not. Absolutely not. So that as long as that is evident, and I like what Rev said, that at the time of counseling, and interestingly, Rev, counseling is a challenge, and I think it really needs to be emphasized properly for the man and the woman as they're getting to marry, because that is a space where the minister and any other person who is sort of shepherding them and walking with them in this journey of marriage is able to observe that weakness and is able to nurture and develop these conversations and sort of mindset within the man, so that when those occasions come in terms of his weakness here in there in terms of addressing issues, then he's able to have a way out and then over time to build a place of accountability. I have never understood why, when we look for couples to be best couple, we are never advised well who to go for,
because mother-in-law says chagua yule.
Exactly. and that's it, because then those people don't become reliable people to you. So you have this young man who is substantially alone. He can look for a rev or a counselor, and if they're not very near, then they're in that scenario where
I think, and one of the reasons I've seen is that most of the people getting to wed are looking for photogenic people, not because they will support you. When you look at most marriages, the best couple are never seen. In fact, you ask them, the best couple, oh, we haven't spoken, I don't know what's happening in their lives. And so there's that kind. But however, and which is now your job as reverends to be able to, as the clergy and eldership, to be able to guide on that. But most people get to do marriage counseling because it is mandatory. You must come for these lessons, this number of lessons before you get married to tick a box. Reverend, on behalf of wachungaji wenzako, sometimes you guys are too busy to do actual counseling. Sometimes you don't even have time for them, and it becomes and I've heard about it, and not from my minister. My minister has a lot of time, and I believe you sound very passionate about it. But why don't we have enough time for counseling? And in fact, let me not ask that one. Let me ask, when during counseling, can the couple be told you need to avoid influence of your in-laws?
Yes. They are told, and we have literatures, we have booklets. We allow them to go what we call premarital counseling. In the premarital counseling, they discuss relationship with the in-laws, relationship with the others, whatever. But the point here, and you said, as clergy, I think we need to devote more time. And we also need to understand that the seasons we are in are not the same season that were there before.
Yes.
There are a lot of dynamics now in life, and there are a lot of influences to these people, so that we may probably need to change the way we are relating with these people. Because it is not enough for them to just come for a 3-week whatever course. You mentioned about the best couple. This is where, again, we are having a problem, because we don't get involved in trying to help them to choose the right people to work with. You'll find someone is getting married and is bringing to you someone who has never been married as the best man. Someone who has never been married as the best mate. Let's put it very clearly here. This person who is standing as your best man should be someone who really knows you, and someone who is preferably senior than you in marriage, who has experience and who can be able to talk to you, to speak to your life, and be able to tell you, stop that.
Somebody who can come to you
Yes.
and tell you are going wrong, and you can have a fight which does not affect your relationship.
Exactly.
So my other question is
Yes.
this, and it's happening a lot here with talks and seminars and let's talk. Can a man who is not married, whose marriage broke, who could not keep up to manage his family, should that person have the moral authority to speak to new couples or to speak to married people? And I just want to be very blunt about this. Your answer?
Absolutely not.
It's a no. We don't even need to say why. That's a no. Because
This is happening all over, eh?
it's a no. And this is, let me put it this way. People do not seem to understand the season we are living in. There is so much wickedness and deliberate plan to destroy families. And that's why you'll find people who have actually failed in their marriages, they're still being called marriage counselors. I think the first thing should happen is that you should be disqualified. You cannot be a marriage counselor. Just because you went to school, you did a degree in psychology and whatever.
Yours has not worked.
And yours has not worked. Marriage is not, it's not theory, Dougie. It cannot be theory. It has to be practical. Yeah, it has to be practical.
And totally agree with Rev there. And essentially, again, going back to the author of Marriage, God, putting man and woman together. I mean, if you have someone speaking to the lives of a married couple and they are not in marriage themselves, or they have failed in their marriage, I mean, for sure, they will not be planting the right seeds along the way, especially as far as example is concerned. And example is very, very important as far as marriage is concerned.
Let me even put it this way. Even in the church, the clergy, we should be careful. I know we have young people who are coming to ministry when they are young and they ordain. Because some of them probably their churches will ordain you whether you're married or not. You are reverend. Those ones should not be allowed, in my opinion, in my view, to conduct marriages.
They don't have the moral
They
authority.
do not have the moral authority to conduct
They don't have the leadership
marriage.
in that sense.
Exactly. This is a serious business. It should be handled by experienced people and people who have the burden to and desire to make it
But
succeed.
they're going to come and say, you know what? My wife went to the States. She never came back. So what do I do? My husband started becoming violent. He saw another Kamoshugwa there. He decided to leave. So I am innocent. He's the evil one. So I am the one who I upheld it.
Sorry, let me answer that, because I've been married longer than all of you.
Yes, yes.
I've been married for 38 years. 30th of March will be 38 years. Yeah, this month.
You must do coffee.
Yes, thank you. Have I had a successful marriage? I can confidently say yes. What was the tick? From day one, I purposed. I am in this marriage for life.
Yes.
Yeah, and I tell people I purposed. I don't say we didn't purpose. I didn't say we purposed. I purpose, and I said it is my responsibility to ensure my marriage works. And I decided I'm going to do everything that is within me to make my marriage work. Which means I will fight for it. I'll work with my wife, even in her weaknesses. I'll work with her. I will tolerate her. Even where I should not tolerate, I will. Why? Because I purposed my marriage will not fail, my marriage will work. And let me tell you something. When one party decides that, whether it is the wife or the husband, the other party joins in, it becomes easy. Wherever there is one person who decides this thing is going to work, I'll tell you why most of the time fails. When they say, but it is responsibility. It is two. It takes two to tango. That business, it takes two to tango. It is he did that. He did that.
Yes.
In marriage, it's not there. Marriage, you as an individual, whether it is a wife or is the husband, decide, I want my marriage to work. Therefore, I'm going to work through it with my spouse. I'm going to help her. She's supposed to help me. And even if she is not able to help me, I will go out of my way to find out why is she not able to help. Yeah, so that I help her. If we do that, I can assure you, nobody's going to the US to leave the other. Yeah, because that business of she went to the US and she didn't want to come back. You need to find out why did she leave, and why does she want to come back?
Okay.
There's something. There's a problem.
There's a story.
Anyway,
Yeah, I agree with Rev, 100%. And allow me to add that I mean, sometimes I consistently repeat this because I'm trying to work with young couples in recent time. And last time I put it out there that marriage is for two Christians.
Yes.
And essentially, the essence, the mind, the work, and sort of the results of what marriage ought to be is the version of God. There's a lot of challenges in the world that clearly we are seeing them today that are counter marriage and family. So that the standard is Scripture. So that we have God as Christians to walk and work with us as far as our marriage is concerned. So that anything that is not in the will of God, then we sort of weed it out of our relationships. And over time, even our cultures where we have cultures that are not necessarily in a Christian context, we slowly come in and we let the Christian mindset lead how we are doing our marriages, so that we won't have us. I mean, if I'm a counselor and my marriage didn't work, honestly, I will change professions.
exactly.
Okay. Is there a time when one should quit the marriage? Is there any one time where we can say, now, you've had it too hard. It's too much. Talker.
This is a very hard question, but we must admit that if everything fails and the marriage, there is violence in it, killings, or even not anything that is violent, it's dangerous. And even when we are counseling, we try to find out, is this person being violent? Are you being beaten? Yeah? And I want to tell everybody who is listening, because I have had people that have been beaten for years, and even their parents do not know. This is dangerous. Do not allow anybody to lay his hand or her hand, because nowadays it's both ways.
Yes.
Ladies are beating men,
Yes.
and in fact, they are doing it now more than whatever, because
and screaming
as they beat the men. Do not allow anyone to get to that level, because you cannot. And I say, you do not have any reason. It doesn't matter what this person has done. This is a grown-up like you. If they mess, it's not upon you to fight them. Call someone to arbitrate. But you ask, is there a time when it should be called quits?
Enough is enough.
If this person becomes violent, don't stay there. It's a sad story. God hates divorce. But if one person becomes violent, and it is not that one time, anger, this is somebody who is that is a life. Akiingia pale unajua makopi na nini na mateke, hata ukimpatia chakula na kupiga, hata kwa kitanda na kupiga, then you are not supposed to be there. Get out.
But now this brings the other question.
Yeah.
We should not be violent. You should not lay your hands on me as a woman, isn't it?
Yeah.
But would that then make that woman, John, get pembe? Because after all, he cannot touch me. After all, he cannot shout louder than I can. Atadu.
Let's hear John. He is a new valid.
Is there the opportunity that you can pick up ability?
Ya kutoa ujinga.
Ya kutoa ujinga mka.
When perhaps you are coming from sort of a traditional cultures where you're not a Christian, those occasions perhaps will be there. But I like to, especially when you're talking about marriage and relationships, I really like to refer life around and from the Bible. And for me, the Bible is very clear about the relationship between my wife and I, or man and his wife. That we are equal. We are partners. We are companions.
No. Boss, there's this woman who is just an outright mess. Okay? She will not respect the husband. She will not even take care of the kids, because after all, anyway, you've got, it's your right to do it as much as it is my job to do it. Is there a point where it is allowed? Ndio sisahau tena. Papa.
Well, let me tell you what. For me, I wouldn't resort to...
Not for you.
This is generally the conversation, because no matter how I look at it, I wouldn't go to the point of hitting the woman, and there would be other approaches. For example, I would be one person who actually creates space. I would advocate that there be space, physical space between the two persons, right? So that they could go and stay somewhere for 2 weeks. Wacha watoto wakae hapa hapo ni nyumbani kwao. They don't have to know there's anything wrong, and we manage that from that situation, right?
Whatever happens, is Vegas.
Yeah. But let me tell you what. Anytime, and it's interesting about marriage and the way couples relate to one another. Kids are watching, and we are concerned about some of the things we see in our children and young people. It's because some of these things they observed or watched in the in the relationship between their parents. So that it has to be very deliberate how the man and woman go about dealing with some of the things that are a big deal between them. Even though the man amekosewa, perhaps ametukana hata mbele ya watoto, he has really kind of turned the...
Back to the in-law story. I am in a certain men's group, Christian men's group. And I think yesterday or the day before, was it even today, some guy says, you know what, we've been having a tiff with my wife, and my in-laws, her parents, came and scooped her and went away with her. And I think they left him with the children also. And he was saying, guys, help me, what do I do? So, in a situation like that, what is he supposed to do?
Nothing. Ask me, I will tell you that again and again, nothing. So that there has to be a very good understanding that this in-law and this wife are doing. They are grown-ups. We are all grown-ups. I mean, you are not respecting a man if you're going to come to his home, pick his wife without any communication to him for whatever reason, and you go with them. And so for me, just
I think the guy said he tried to call his mother-in-law to tell her, mwambie arudi tu. Ambia mtoto wako arudi.
Arudi tu. Na si mama, the mother-in-law ndiye alimchukua.
Ndiye alimkujia.
Sasa atarudi ya si mother-in-law basi amlete. Yule alimchukua zidi atamleta.
You know, again, there are so many things.
So it was very vague. In fact, we were saying, it's so vague, we can't help there. But either way, should the in-laws have come in?
The answer can be yes. And
Violence,
if there is violence, they need, because we don't know this case what, but if there was violence and the girl calls home and say, hey, I'm being beaten here. Well, let me tell you, I have only one daughter. If that happened, Dougie, I will drive there very fast, and I will get in and pick her, and I may even tell the young man, please, this one can be over.
As far as
violence
is concerned,
but anything else, more matters, more disagreements, we should not get involved. Let these people mature. Let them grow through their small problems. Let them. The best we can do is to help them.
And I think, Dougie, we really need to be taught more and more what our physical strength is really. Because, yes, in the one occasion, or two or couple, whatever the number of times, I can discipline my children with the kiboko, and I have done that.
The rod and stop,
I can tell you, I have never made a mistake as far as personally, and that is what my dad taught me, not just by telling me, but by showing me. But the point is, when it comes to my strength, I mean, to use my strength to beat my wife.
No, that is.
I think that is something. That's a conversation. That's a mantle conversation that really
no.
be had.
Why are you abusing yourself? Why would you beat your wife? You're actually abusing yourself.
And will it make things better?
Yes.
Anyway.
This is not just someone. This is your wife. This is the mother of your children. This is someone whom you have trusted and who has trusted. If whatever it is, it should not resort to violence.
Men don't talk about these things. So they'll go to the club and speak very loudly and speak about politics and many things, and transnight or come home out just to hide that one. Men have very many forums. At the motorbike center, they sit and then do the shed. They will have forums in church. They will have forums for even breakfast meetings. In fact, when we go for the dowry rorashios, no, it is called kuanaitara, is it? When the mothers go and when the in-laws come to the young
to visit the young man's
home, it seems to have become a women's thing only. And I am not getting into I'm not correcting culture, but I'm saying the men who are there, isn't that an opportunity to call the young man and just have a conversation? Do we have forums, is what I'm asking. Do we have forums where men should talk to these young men? Ama kweli hatuonani, we should not talk to them.
There should be that forum. I know, well, I'm now past that age where I get involved in those kind of things. But when we were a little bit younger, and we would go for these dowries, and some of the young men that were younger than us who were getting married, we took it upon ourselves to get the man and sat him down and tell him some things that he has never been told by anyone else. And at that time, we actually open up and tell the young man what normally he is getting into and what will happen. Because some of these people don't even know what to do in bed with a woman. There are some of them that are virgin. They've never known what it is. And some of the problem actually start that night, because these two people don't know what to do. Or one knows what to do and the other one doesn't know, and the other one is not cooperative. And no one talked to them about these things because we think they should not be talked about. Now, of course, we know the best man is supposed to help here, but if you have a best man who has never been married, how is he going to help you? So the men, and this Dougie, that's what you're saying.
Yes.
As the ladies take the girl to go and talk to her inside that itara thing.
Yes.
Let the men also take the young man, take them to take him to Akadingira somewhere, if
And
there
have
is.
a conversation.
Have a conversation with this man. Let him know that he is getting married and what it means to get married, what it means to be a husband and a father, because he's going to be a father. Let it be said by men. And you know, the things that you are taught by people who are senior than you, they stick more than when your peers tell you things.
I mean, I agree. I mean, that has to happen for the man. Yeah.
Many women they trash, for lack of a better word, their spouses. They'll speak very bad about men, about their husbands out there, very ill about them. And I think the women need to be taught that do not demean your husband, do not demean your man out there. Come and just say your issues out there. Come and just say, but again for men, there's a question I want to ask. And someone was saying, some lady said, Ebu ask this question, because men need to answer. There's one question that is really, really, really hard for men to answer. When they receive a phone call, and the wife calls and asks one question, where are you? Why is it so hard to answer that question? John, you're the younger guy here.
It's an interestingly hard question to answer because, I mean, what does it matter? You know, in some
You're
cases,
late to get home.
right?
And especially for the more secular kind of men
Right.
who are out having, you know, some
Right.
conversations out there.
Yeah.
Uko happy,
Right.
and then we start stammering.
Right.
So the call was that when we asked, we just say where we are.
Right. Well, that's the ideal. That's the ideal, and really, because we are, I mean, and we are called really to be friends, the man and my wife and his wife, isn't it? So that we're able to really talk freely. You know, that question comes, and I'm able to say exactly where I am. But over time, coming from some of our orientations, particularly cultural orientations, and some of, interestingly, Rev is talking about conversations, positive conversation in our culture that really empower the man and help them get to know themselves in the context of marriage. But there are those other conversations that still have happened and continue to happen today that give the man that mindset that the woman cannot, I mean, she has no, she has no audacity, you know, to ask you where
you
are
are.
You, I am the man.
Yeah.
You should know where I am.
Yeah.
We spoke.
That's the, yeah.
So, how would a man know? How do one know, not just a man, that the marriage is in trouble? What are the telltale signs? What are the things that will come to show, hapa kuna shida in a marriage? Is it that she doesn't talk to me anymore? Is it that I am served and she disappears out there? What are the signs to tell that a marriage is in trouble? Is it too much fighting? Is fighting good, and where does it have a break? Is it too much argument? Is it that she doesn't calm down or he doesn't calm? Ni wapi? Ni lini?
I think the couple knows when things start going the wrong direction. These people have been friends for a long time. They quoted, they related, they know each other. So they know, we know when things are not right, how one behaves. Even body language tells. So you need to know, to understand your spouse when she's not happy. And if she's not, then try to find out in a way why she's not happy. Yeah, because if you leave it at that, you ignore, then that thing continues, the next thing, this person will burst and just utter things or throw things, and before you realize, you're insulting each other because you ignored the first sign. Whatever it is, that body language, that lack of greetings, or you just come in, the door is open, nobody talks to you, there's a goes to sit, brings food and doesn't talk to you. You need to find, why is this person not happy?
That silence that is there.
Yes, because she's trying to communicate, or he's trying to communicate. Why is this man now not talking to me? You know, Yeah, why is that call that I used to receive, I don't receive it anymore? Don't let it just disappear. Just try to find out and sort it out early.
I mean, I don't want to take your space on asking the questions, but Rev, you know, speak of the telltale signs, and what's up with this situation of coded language, coded communication? You know, sometimes people are not talking, or you. I mean, we are called to a relationship. Why can't we speak it? Why can't we talk it?
And that's what I was going to, well, because I've heard someone say, you know, when people come and you speak to them from an elder's point of view, say, I'm tired of this marriage, I'm tired of fighting. We don't even argue anymore, I'm tired of it. Is that the point where somebody is probably saying, I am done with this Quishamane? Because today, people are going into serious violent episodes and into murder. So when are these tell signs?
Well, I know Rev Saddam will give the feedback on the questions, but I wanted to just add on to that thought on the fact that it's a relationship. And I think for me, I have a problem when, as a man, you know, I slow down on contributing to the relationship. I want to excel, and likewise for the woman, I will find myself excelling well, you know, outside there. I mean, even with other female colleagues at work, for example, I'm easily talking to them, you know, my male friends and colleagues. But come home, you know, I slow down. I'm not having a conversation. You know, we're not able to really talk. And in some cases where the conversations are, then they are arguing. You know, what happened to just having normal conversations and recognizing that we are in a relationship? It's a win-win. That's pretty, you know, relevant.
First of all, the problem is trust, because when trust disappears, you know, people become suspicious of each other, and there's a way people start reacting. But and this is something that we need to guard very, with all the ability that we have, trust. We must never allow anything that would affect trust in our lives. And if you suspect something is not right, don't start investigating.
Right.
Because in the process of investigating, that's where you go wrong. Because what you're suspecting could be wrong. It may be just perception, or someone may have told you something, and because you're not wise enough, you believed it. Why don't you take time? This is somebody that you know, you have worked, as you put it, there's a relationship. Let there be a conversation. Yes. Call a spade a spade. If I'm a suspicious, let me be honest and say, hey, by the way, I'll be honest with you, I was not happy. Yeah? I knew if we are told that, even if there is nothing,
you need to accept.
Just accept, don't fight back. But because why is he not happy? Because he loves you. That's why he's jealous. You should be happy that he was not happy when he saw you. But just be honest and tell, by the way, sweetheart, you don't need to worry about this. There is nothing about this. Yeah, this is a colleague, whatever. And I can tell you, this is a person to trust. It is, yeah, and that conversation ends there.
There are times when many ladies complain and say that marriages do not work because of the man. Because the man comes, he gets hold of the girl, he pretends, in their words, that he loves her and is committed, and she gets pregnant. Jamaa huyo. And so many of these single ladies out there actually are victims. And that is what they are saying out there, that we are victims of you men who come and tune us and pretend that you're serious with us, get us pregnant and take off. Is there truth?
Dougie, let me ask this woman, why do you allow someone to get into your life? Not into your life. Why do you give yourself to somebody, your body to someone who has not committed to marry you? And this is where things are going wrong. This trial and error thing should not be happening, because the moment You sleep with this woman, you get a child, maybe that's all that he wanted, and then he disappears. And this man may be even married. Yeah?
Yes,
why didn't you take time to find out who this man is? Why are you giving yourself to just anybody comes your way? Respect yourself, respect your body. Don't be desperate. Ladies, let's tell them, don't be desperate.
If he loves you to that man,
yes,
he can wait.
He can wait. Actually, the test, if you want to know whether somebody loves you, that is where it is. Yeah. That should be the test. Let him wait until the appointed time when everything has been done. You have known this person, you have known the in-laws, you have done what is need to be done. Come to church, we will marry you.
And I want to add that and I think girls need to learn and appreciate, and I think men as well, to date, right? And to appreciate simply dating. Just, having these people you're friends with, and you're able to get to know them, like Rev is saying, know them better. I mean, you get to know someone is married if you're dating. If you really go about dating without going into those deep, deep. By the time, those conversations have gotten to that point that potentially people could even be having sex, you should be thinking about marriage. By that point, you have already gone through the dating, courtship, and then now you're venturing into marriage. Otherwise, if, Rev is saying, if someone goes about, giving themselves to a man, I mean, so
ideally what we are saying is indemnifying the man. The man was tempted. We know the man has a roving eye naturally. We know the man was created polygamous. So he was tempted. So for any woman who's got a child which is not by rape, they cannot blame any man.
No. They should not. Actually, they should blame themselves.
They
actually led this man to the whole thing.
Yeah. But also as men, we also should understand that, and much as we could argue that women are, lust after men, it is actually men who have more of that towards the women. So that we also need to appreciate that about ourselves. So that by the time we have those conversations in our minds about a certain woman, it's because we have thought about them in the context of them being our wives. And so we will, get them to that place where finally we are leading them into marriage, to really want to get to that, situation of, sexual relationships with them. Yeah.
Sounds interesting. There's something that we need to finish with and touch on very, very, very briefly. Something that I think has been affecting today's, especially African, Kenyan marriages, and in some communities especially. Some marriages which are getting messed up in a very, very mature age. Christians who are falling out of good, straight marriages because of this item. Men who are bringing their boys in to get to start all of this and getting messed up those marriages, which is something to which is about Borishia Shakema. We are going back to goats, to the cultural bit over there. And do you think this is a topic we need to discuss?
Dougie, this topic we can only mention, but it's a whole topic that we need to get involved in, because...
So this is our topic for Thursday coming.
Okay.
Mention that small bit.
I was going to say, this is something that we need to deal with as a country, as a nation. Because whereas culture and customs are good, there is something that is being introduced by the elitists or the so-called elders.
Yes.
That is not culture, and that is religion. Mm-hmm. The Kikuyu religion. Yeah, because anywhere where you have to sacrifice something, shed blood, that is, you are doing that to appease a spirit. And that is religion. It's not culture, it is not custom. And when it gets to that, this is a matter that we need to have a conversation so that we can be able to define what is culture, what is custom, what is good, and what we should not do.
All right. Okay. And so, ladies and gentlemen, we've already put a preamble to next Thursday's conversation. We shall be speaking about goats, speaking about Christianity versus culture. Borisha Kema. I'm not too sure what language will be best to be shared this week, but I know we are going to have a couple of people coming joining us. From the onset, I want to say that we are going to have Reverend Richard with us in studio. We are going to have Sir George Gitau in studio. We are going to have Reverend Kamau Dairo in studio. Discussing about it. It is huge, it is deep, it is messing us up. Ladies and gentlemen, until Thursday, please join us then. Let's speak about it. Go well, God bless, and see you then.
Thank you.
Thank you.